Hi guys, it's Kelly Latevola here, and I am back with another video for Neat and Tangled. Today we are using some new products from the January 2019, I cannot even believe I'm having to say that, release, and it is the new Heart stencils, the Swinging By, it's like a 3x4 stamp set, and then the Just Because stamp set, which is like a great little like Valentine's Day one. And so a lot of times we're going to cover a lot of things in this video, and it's not that long of a video for me. I know it's long for some people, but it's not that long of a video for me. So I'm going to try to squeeze it all in there, plus maybe some chatty time. So first things first, the background of this card. I wanted to use them all together, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my first attempt, and that was basically just to make sure everything fit on the card and did what I wanted it to do. So when I tell you guys that I don't start over and I don't do them again, sometimes just for positioning, I do have to kind of like map myself out beforehand. And with this card, I did, because the sentiment and the stamp I wanted to put on there were both so large. So with all of the distress inking done in the background, I use a Salty Ocean and Twisted Citron. I'm going to heat emboss this Love You. First things first. First embossing tip of the day. If you are embossing on a distress ink background, you had better make sure, listen to what I'm saying, better make sure that that background is dry, because distress inks are designed to stay wet longer. You can emboss with them. So if you don't make sure you have dried this thing down like nobody's business, your embossing powder will stick everywhere. Tip number 2 for embossing. Make sure that you're using some sort of anti-static tool. I was one of those people for the longest time that I was like, I don't need it. I don't need an anti-static tool. My embossing's just fine. It actually is really super helpful. So even if you're not using, like, you don't want to, spend the money on some type of tool, use a dryer sheet. Like anything that's going to get rid of the static. Most of us have dryer sheets. You can pick them up for like a box of like 100 of them for like $2 at the dollar store. Do that. I also, when I have large sentiments like this, where it's going to cover a large surface area, I stamp them twice. That's where like something like the Misty or some sort of stamp positioner kind of comes in handy. I stamp them down twice to make sure that I'm getting good coverage. And also I preheat my gun. So the whole time I'm doing all of the stamping and anti-staticking and all of that, my heat gun is already on, and this is going to help prevent warping of your paper, especially if you have something as large as I am embossing here, or if you're doing like a full background embossing. This is the other thing, okay? So sometimes even when you do everything perfectly, you still might not get great coverage, or I shouldn't say great, as much coverage as you would like. And so again, back to my Misty, and I just relined it up, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to emboss, I'm going to like double emboss it. What if like twice baked potatoes, like how you bake the potato and then you pull all the stuff out and you put the stuff ball back in and then you put them back in the oven? That's what we're doing. We're doing the embossing twice, because it's going to be worth it. I didn't really feel like it was as solid as I would have liked the first time around, which could be, a multitude of things, that I've never used the stamp before, that maybe I didn't give it great pressure, that I need to re-ink my Versamark pad, which I do, self-admittedly. But anyway, so I'm going to emboss this again. And then I was much happier with it. If even after you've done all of these steps, you still have some like bald areas, which I still did, but I fixed it later, and I apologize that it wasn't on camera. Take a white gel pen and fill in those little dots. Fill them in, and nobody will ever know that your embossing wasn't like 100% solid. Moving on to the background. So these little like floating heart stencils, I think that they're totally adorable. I love anything that has to do with hearts, and I'm sure I will use them a ton. I thought that they would be adorable little clouds in the background, and so I'm using some unicorn pigment ink from Hero Arts, and I swirled it on just like I normally would in like the circular motions, and then I picked up some more ink, and then I went back in and just kind of pounced it in a few different places so that it wouldn't all be the same like shade of white. There would be some that had more, like it was more opaque versus more transparent, and I really liked the way that it came out. You saw a couple of areas where I just moved it so it didn't look I wanted it to look like they were floating off the page, is pretty much what you got going on. That's why I did it the way that I did it. Now, moving on to stamping this adorable elephant and this sweet little girl. I think it is such a cute little set. And I love like the 3x4 stamp sets. You guys know, if you follow me, I use them a lot because I feel like it's super cute. You get a couple sentiments, you get, you know, usually one large image, maybe two large images. And I just feel like they're kind of like a great deal for their price point comparative to what you get. Now we're moving on to the Copic coloring. This is pretty standard for me, starting with my lightest color, working out to my darkest, from my darkest back into my lightest. That's how I like to roll with these. My C1 was kind of drying up, so I had to take a little break and re-ink. So you'll see when I come back, it's going to be much darker. Yeah, just anytime you're like coloring with your Copic markers or any refillable alcohol markers, make sure that you have enough ink in your pens, because if you don't, you're going to ruin your nib, and then you'll be sad because you'll have to replace that too. So anyway, I always color everything as if my light source is in the top right hand corner, because that's how I was taught when I was in high school at the one art class that I took and then failed. So that's just, it's kind of holdover from that. You can color it any way that you, with your light source in any way, or color it without a light source, because it doesn't matter. I mean, really, it doesn't. But I know a lot of people talk about how they want to work on their shading. So my recommendation, as always, is find a way that you like to color with your light source in an area, and then just keep doing that. There's no reason to learn 6 different ways that the sun can shine on your image when you can find one that you're comfortable with and stick with that one. So what did I do today? What were we going to talk about today? I don't even really remember. Oh, I had my, so I did a painting class, at a senior center today, in the city that I work in. It wasn't for the city that I work in. It was just, because I wanted to go do that. And I have done it in the past, and I'd kind of gotten out of the habit of it, and I wanted to get back in the swing of things. So one of the ladies that I've known forever, from work, was moved over to that position running the senior center. And so I contacted her and asked her if she would be interested in doing a class. I told you guys this already. But anyway, so I did go. It had snowed here yesterday. Yeah, well, basically for the last 2 days is pretty much what the deal is. It had snowed quite a bit. And I had so much running around to do. I had work in the morning. I worked day shift, and then I had a little bit of just like a teeny tiny break, because after that I had to go to the college because it was orientation for our next academy. And then so I did that. Then I had to go pick up Peanut from my mom and dad's house, because they were looking after him for me while I was at orientation, and then drove him home in the snow. And then this morning we got up, I took him to school, then got ready, and because of the night before, the weather getting in my way, I actually did not make it to the store to buy my canvases, and I needed them. So I was like rushing in the snow to get my canvases to make it, and then I couldn't find the door that I needed to go into. But anywho, I made it there. It all worked out. So I had about 5 people that signed up for the class, and then once we were in there, we had 2 more people show up. So I had about 7 total, and it was fun. I really like teaching, and it doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really matter what the, like what the arena is for that, whether that is, you know, I've taught at women's shelters, I have taught at, you know, senior centers, I have, you know, obviously teaching college now, and I just really like, I really like when people kind of get it, and then they feel accomplished and feel proud of themselves for the things that they're doing. So I'm hoping, card making wise, to maybe teach more in-person classes in 2019, and so I am looking into that. I haven't figured out a way that that's going to work for me with my kind of crazy schedule yet, but it's definitely something that I am looking into and trying to make work. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to offer you guys classes, so that if you wanted to, you know, come to me, because I can't come to you right now, not with Peanut being so young, and take some classes, that maybe that's something that we could do together. So yeah, I think that'll be good, and I'll keep looking into it. So for my, obviously I colored my elephant gray. I put a little bit of pink in his ears, and then for my little girl, I knew that, you know, with the blue and green background, that I wanted there to be a little bit more color where I could bring it in. And so I did her little swing seat in brown, and her hair like a dark blondish is what I went for. For the little like her little pigtails, they're like little curly pigtails, which is how mine looked when I was little. My mom all the time, your hair was so cute with your little curls. Now that I'm a grown woman, it's probably less cute, but I probably wear it curly more often than I did when I was younger. Just basically because I just don't have time to like tame it all the time, and it's just wild. And I still haven't, Dawn, I'm so sorry because you were so generous. I still have not gotten on the Diva Curl train, and I really, really need to, because I have it just sitting here and it's probably amazing, and I'm missing out on it because I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Anybody else ever feel like that? Like, it doesn't matter if it's like new makeup or craft supplies or, you know, just any kind of beauty products. Like, I am notorious for, I will pick the thing up, I will be super excited to try it, life will just take over. Like, life will just get in my way, and then it's like 2 months later before I can even get to the thing. It's so frustrating sometimes. And I don't know, like, I like look at it like the hair product thing, okay? Like, I would love to try it, and I would love for my hair to be more manageable, and it would literally just take me like digging it out of the box, but I am so set in my routine, and my routine only takes me X amount of time. I think that's why I'm hesitant to do it. Like, even doing this, I love doing videos, you guys know that. I like chatting with you and the connections that we make, and ooh, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about connections. We're going to come back to it. Ooh, maybe not in this video. I might not have enough time. I might have to get you on tomorrow's video. Maybe tomorrow's video we talk about connections. Okay, come back for that. But anywho, so like it would just be like me going down the hallway and getting into these boxes, but it would require me to change my routine. And because I have so little free time in my life, I don't like changing my routine when I know that something, you know, kind of works for me, even if it's not like the best works for me. And I really wish that I was better about doing that. Like, I wish I was better about forcing myself to break that routine. So, anywho, back to this card. I gave her some little polka dots on her shirt, and then I outlined my whole image. I am going to be die cutting this out. You can see the little black fingerprints on the left-hand side. Those are Peanuts. Peanuts' little black fingerprints are on my card because when we go, I just can never sit and do nothing. Honest to God. It's a struggle for me to just sit there and just be. And so typically, like when we go to my mom and dad's, for anything like family related, I usually bring something with me, whether that is like a cross stitch or my sketchbook or stamps and my Copic markers. And Peanuts have been really, really into making cards with me lately. So this last time, what did we go for? The first of the year, I cut a bunch of card fronts down and then took my markers and some stamps with me, and then so Peanut and I could make cards. Well, he doesn't like to clean his stamps before he pulls them off of the Misty block, and so he had little black fingerprints on pretty much all of the cardstock. So I can't necessarily use them for cards, but the things that I use to die cut, I certainly can use that cardstock for that, because that's a whole lot of Nina I'm not wasting. Know what I'm saying? For the Love You, I wanted it to look cloud-ish in the sky, but it really was very hard to read. It wasn't exactly legible, so I just gave it a little drop shadow with that same black EK Success pen that I do all my outlining with. You saw me do the little grasses on the bottom, and I'm just giving them a little bit of a shadow. So the little elephant, I don't know why I assume it's a him. It could be a her. It could be whatever it wants to be, honestly, and I would love it anyway. But it will be right underneath the elephant, where hers is going to be like kind of like back and to the left, because she's up above, she's hovering up above it on the swing, and the light source is coming in from the top right. So you'll see when I put her down, where like that shadow sits. And I almost kind of wish I would have put it up a little bit higher. But I didn't. Decisions were made. It is what it is. I don't think it looks terrible. It's just, you know, lesson learned in the future for the next time I use the stamp set, that when I want to do her shadow, that I just move it a little further back. That's all. Popped that up with some foam tape, and then I already knew. So this, I heat embossed this on a black strip of paper, and it says, it's the swinging by to say portion. Now, in the little 3x4 stamp set, the love you, not the big love you, there's a little love you. So this sentiment was already created in that set. I just wanted to use the big love you from the other stamp set. But when I put this on, okay, so the sentiment is on the dark sentiment is on the left-hand side. The elephant and the little girl are on the left-hand side. So it made my card feel very heavy. In order to lead the eye a little bit more to the right, I'm doing this little path of rhinestones so that it kind of flows a little bit better. And then typically I don't show you guys like the inside, you know, I don't really do anything to the inside of my cards. But this one, I wanted it to finish off the sentiment. Because I think I'm going to send this to my goddaughter, honestly. But so now the whole thing says swinging by to say love you. And then when you open it, more than anything, which I think is adorable. So yeah, that's basically the whole card. I put a little, you know, clear Wink of Stella on her shirt and then called it. So, like I said, I'll be back again tomorrow with another video, and I hope to see you guys then. All right, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.